Well, just like the title said, I'm 22, just turned 22, March 1st. I'm married. I have two kids. And I find that I have very, very few friends. When I say that I have very few friends, I don't want it to come across as if I'm some socially awkward person that's incapable of making friends. No, I genuinely just mean I don't have many friends at all. And it's interesting because when I think back when I was in sixth grade, seventh grade, middle school, even high school, I would have said I have a lot of friends. I was considered at one point a popular person, right? I'm not talking about winning prom king or anything like that, but I had a large circle. A lot of people knew of me within the school building. And I would always go around throwing the term friend to everybody that I was cool with. If I knew your name and you smiled at me and we talked a couple times, you're my friend, right? And so I went around calling everybody my friend. A lot of people liked me. I was very likable, but I found often that in a lot of those moments, I wasn't being myself. I wasn't really riding my own wave, so to speak. I would do whatever the people around me was doing. I would do whatever was popular. And because I'm a naturally social person, it was easy. And people gravitated towards that. I'd say it wasn't until 2020 when I began going to college. And then after I dropped out my junior year, when I really sat back and I looked and realized, oh, wow, things have changed. I really don't have many friends at all. There's about 5 or 6 people I can list that I consider friends out of the hundreds of people I knew all throughout school. And it's funny, I would actually often find myself reaching out to people that I used to be very close with, people who called me a friend or a brother, just to see their face again, just to hang out because it had been a long time. And I made the mistake of thinking that we were genuinely friends, right? Like I said before, I just called everybody my friend. As long as you treated me decent, smiled, and talked to me. And it wasn't until I consistently began reaching out to these people and then they never saw me. They never agreed to hang out with me. It got to a point where I realized if I don't reach out and I didn't text them, we were never going to speak because they would not reach out and check on me or speak to me. I would talk to them and ask them about hanging out, and they would say things like, oh, sure, for sure, next time I'm in town. And then I'll take to social media, to Instagram, and I'll see those same people I was just asking to hang out with in a group with each other. Nobody called me. At first, I was hurt, I was upset, and I was wondering why it is that a lot of people began disappearing. A lot of people that I called my so-called friends were not acting like friends at all. But it really wasn't until now where I began to really come to terms with it. I think people just grow apart. And when you become comfortable in your identity and you refuse to compromise so that you can make friends with other people or become more likable to other people, the people that were in your circle for the act that you were putting on begin to fall. You start to mature. You do things like marry a wife, marry a woman, get a wife, and start to have children. And you really find who you are. And you don't people please anymore. They kind of start to fall off. The things that you guys bonded on in high school, the goofiness, the silliness, the things that they're still doing, hence why they hang out with each other, you're not doing it anymore. And they can tell. So what you had in common is no longer there. I got to a point where I realized who I truly was and my identity. My identity is Nathaniel Stephen Clark, a man of the Most High God, Jesus Christ, and I shall use my gifts, my talents, and my skills to bring glory to God. That's it. And I realized this about 8 or 9 months ago when a good friend of mine died. I realized that life is not promised, it's not guaranteed. And you got to just make sure that you're not wasting your time. And so I guess I say that to say anybody who's watching this video, if you happen to click on it and you feel like you're in a similar situation, just realize it's not always your fault. Just because you tried to reach out to them, just because you have memories of you guys laughing and joking together, and once you were really close, but now it doesn't seem like they're showing you any attention or paying you any mind, it's not always your fault. And also hear this. One thing I had to realize is sometimes it's for the best. One of the most important things that I learned is that a lot of relationships in life, including friendships, are seasonal. A lot of people are here for one season of your life, and then they're not meant to be there anymore. Don't mess yourself up. Don't fight that battle that's impossible to win by fighting it. I think it's best to just come to terms with it, because that's what I've done. It can hurt a lot when you considered yourself really close to somebody, but now they're acting different. They don't really reach out to you anymore. And like I said earlier, if you don't reach out, you guys will rarely, if ever, speak at all. So once you realize these things, take pride in the fact that you know who you are. And if you don't, take time to find out. Because one thing I will say, and one thing that I have learned, is that when you do figure out who you are, that's when you meet the people who will stick around. That's when you meet real friends. I had to be careful, and I had to learn that I can't just call everybody my friend. A friend is somebody who, if you're drowning and you fall off a boat, they stick their arm out the boat and they either help you up and keep you from drowning, or they drown with you. Now that might sound dramatic, but I'm being serious. That is a friend. And I think a lot of the times it can be discouraging because the world will show us that we need to party. We need to have a very large social circle of friends. We need to be very active in the world and be popular. And so when we sit back and have these reflections and we ponder on our circle of people that we talk to and we realize it's small, we begin to get sad. I'm going to be honest, I was depressed for a while because I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know if it was me. I didn't know if I was doing something wrong, if I was just lame. What is it? Do I kill a party as soon as I walk in the door? What is it? What is so different that my circle is so small, but I look on Instagram and I see all these people that I used to hang out with in a circle? That's what I used to do. But I don't do that anymore. Because sometimes you just grow apart. And sometimes the very people that you thought were supposed to be in your life forever fade away. But in those moments, don't try to grasp at the mist, at the vapor. Don't try to grab and chase the wind, because you're just going to tire yourself out. You're just going to get mentally drained. You got to accept it. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you who's watching this video if you can relate to this. And there's nothing wrong with me. I think we have to focus our attention on the things that really matter, like our children, like our future. like finding our identity and moving in our purpose. And when you do those things and you refuse to compromise for the sake of being liked by other people, ironically enough, you'll find the very same thing that you were searching for. You'll find real, true friends. And so I guess I say all that to say, maybe we ought to come to the realization that it's okay. Just because the people you used to be close with don't talk to you anymore, and just because your social circle is smaller than the world says it should be, there's nothing wrong with you, there's nothing wrong with me, or the next person. It's time to keep your head up. Understand who you are. If you don't know who you are, find out. Walk in your purpose, and those friends will come. Don't ever doubt yourself. Don't beat yourself up. You're fine, and so am I. Thanks for watching.